Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Blitz in the Matrix, the Apocalypse. This is my first live stream, and I think the timing is really appropriate. We're going to get into discussing vaccines, the COVID vaccine, um, as well as testing. A lot of the country, I think, is divided on if they are going to get tested, if they are going to get vaccinated. A lot of people in the country, I guess, are torn um, if they should comply with the mandates and also how safe um, the vaccine is or may be. For one, we have no idea what's in it. So, the fact that even that if some government entity is mandating that you put this into your body, into the body of your family and your children, it really should have some consideration as to if you should comply with that mandate. A lot of issue that I see that is growing, that a lot of people are wondering if there is, in fact, an exemption. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Let me see if you can just bear with me. All right, I'm back. It says we don't know what they put in it exactly, Billy. We have no clue what's in it just because they are mandating that we take this in order to basically live our daily lives. If you want to work, if you want to attend school, it's going to be a requirement. If you want to fly, it's going to be a requirement. You cannot get on board a plane without what is called a COVID immunity um, certificate, basically showing that you complied and you've got, there's going to be 2 doses required of the vaccine. So just getting one isn't enough. They're going to require you to get a second dose of the vaccine. So basically, I just want to get a feel for you guys. What are your thoughts on taking or not taking the vaccine, and what are your reasons for your position? Because, like I said, I think this is very important. This is probably overshadowing the presidency. This is a very big topic at this time of the country is kind of undecided, and from pretty much what the news is reporting, um, the numbers aren't that high of people who are actually looking forward to getting vaccinated. The country is very torn, and mainstream media has made this clear by they're using different tactics to try and get people to build confidence in the actual vaccine. So far, there were people who did take the first round of the vaccine who developed Bell's palsy. Sorry about that. Where one side of your face, it kind of feels like a stroke where one side of your face falls. And this is one of the side effects, which they're trying to say, don't worry, it's just normal, it's a side effect. Um, so, Damon, what is your reasoning for your position on the vaccine? Because this is what I'm trying to get a feel for what's going on in the country and the minds of the people right now. Because I'm allergic to the stuff, whatever is in it. Exactly, that's a great point. Um, and I have a great remedy that I want to share with a lot of people. Um, I think it typically helps women, but I don't see why it can't be used for everyone of any gender, because that is a form of discrimination in itself when something is accessible for one gender and not for another. So that in itself just is it's just something that's not tolerated. protected by federal law. But exactly, which I don't know for years how this made any sense to anyone that in order to build up immunity to the flu or whatever it is, they're going to shoot you with a small amount of it. That's like saying that, with a snake bite, they're going to shoot you with a small amount of snake venom and hope you build an immunity to it. Um, so basically, all right, I'm going to type this into the chat. All right, so I just typed this into the chat. So this is about a Supreme Court case where an issue with women saying our body, our choice, and this dealt with abortion, birth control, abortion. And I definitely think, excuse me, this case can be used in this instance right here as far as an exemption from taking the vaccine. Because it's the same thing, your body, your choice. So the Supreme Court ruled unanimously that the woman has the choice to decide if she's going to have birth control, if she's going to abort her baby or keep the baby. So this falls into the same lines, and I think that we're going to have to get some ground on this early and maybe start putting this into the state courts so that you can run through and get it up to the highest court of your state. And then once that happens, if it's we still don't have a favorable outcome, and then we can push forward to the United States Supreme Court and citing Roe versus Wade, because to have something that's mandated or compulsory, to have you take a shot without not knowing what's in it, one, not knowing the side effects, two, and there's also something that the Trump administration has called Operation Warp Speed, is where they're trying to fast track this vaccine. So they're really trying to get a move on this, and they want a certain percentage of the country vaccinated very soon, within the next month, two. By February, I think they want at least 70% of the population vaccinated. On top of that, there's going to be something. I think I'm saving that. I have a webinar scheduled for tomorrow. I'm going to go live here on YouTube um, about the certificate, the immunity certificate, and it also they've developed an app for it. There's a couple different companies that have developed an app where it will be on your phone, and you'll be required to pull it up. It'll be scannable, have a QR code in order for you to. I definitely know for right now, for taking flights, if you're looking to take a flight anywhere and board a plane, you're going to have to show that you've already been vaccinated. It says, can't we just say no, that we don't want to take the vaccination? I think once it gets to the point where this is where they put a mandate in place, just like they put a mandate for social distancing, for the mask, um, for the certain amount of people that you can have in your establishment. They've caused many businesses to shut down. People can't even support themselves. They're losing their businesses. A lot of homes are going to be up for foreclosure, which is ending on December 31st. There was a federal referendum put in place where no foreclosures could happen, no evictions. Student loans were suspended. I don't know if that's the word I want to use, suspended, but deferred. Car notes, things of that nature, utilities, you could not be shut off for being passed through on any of these things. So now all of that is about to come to an end on December 31st. So once the calendar flips, we're into January. There's a whole bunch of things that are going to be taking place in this country. And it's a scary time for a lot of people. Peace. How are you? Let me see. So it's where's the claim at risk management being subjected to an experiment, no science, the mass prevents COVID, can't experiment without consent. That is the huge thing right here is that a lot of people are under the impression that um, compliance is like mandatory, like it's against the law. They can arrest you, they can fine you. Sometimes doing what's right and standing up, um, you know, trying to figure a way to say this, but if you look at the Black Panther Party, a lot of what was considered against the law at that time, Huey and the other Panthers had looked to the Constitution and they found ways around it that they had the right to bear arms. And it's actually a right that can't be taken away. It's not a privilege. It's a right, and it says it shall be inviolable. So you shouldn't violate what the Constitution gives because the Constitution is the article that created the states. So they have no more authority than that which is granted to them in the Constitution. So if you look and it's like I looked in the Florida Constitution, and it's a great one. It basically says that we have the right to privacy as a natural being, and that we shouldn't be intruded upon by government. The government has no right to be in our private business because we are private. I don't even want to use the word individuals, but we are private beings. We have the right to do as we see so fit, as long as we don't infringe on the rights or property rights of anyone else. So this is something that is important, that we must understand, and this is what this channel is about. It's about educating people and bringing people back to where we were back when the states were very independent before the federal government came into place. The people pretty much ran the government because the thing that people don't understand is the people are the government. States or body politics, which is they're corporations, but they're composed of men and women together who occupy a territory, which makes up a state. So a lot of people I know that they are making up exemption forms that they are turning in to certain authorities, to their employers, to schools, different things, so that they could notify them that they are exempt. I have seen a couple, what do you call it? A couple different articles that were talking about that the medical exemption is not going to apply, that the religious exemption is not going to apply. So once you start seeing stuff like this, you have to realize that you are dealing with public officials who are in breach of their public duty or their public trust, the office of public trust. And so everybody's so for following the law, but what happens when the law goes rogue and the law is against nature? Do you still follow? That's a choice that you're going to have to make. It's a personal choice. Do I, because you mandate that I stick this needle in my arm, do I still do it because you're enforcing it and there's a fine attached to it, or there's jail time or whatever it is? That right there shows you who you're dealing with when you're thinking that this is the rule of law, this is the law of the land, and that they are governing ethnically. This is something that you're going to have to understand. You're going to have to make a decision for yourself. That's right. Civil rights violation, human rights violation. It says similar to the flu shot. So I'm just reading some of the chat as we're doing this. But yeah, we have to realize that the people at one time, they really stood up for their beliefs, what they believed in, and they held checks and balances for their public officials, which are public servants. To this day, I've interacted with some government entities who take offense to people who um, call them what they are. They're public servants. They're here to serve us. People have to understand that we are actually not the public. We are the private. They are the public because they swore a public oath and they hold a public office. So I think that's where we get things misconstrued, is believing that we are the public. We have to know our place. We are private. We are private beings who are allowed to operate in our private capacity without any intrusion from government officials. They have to basically know their role and stay in their lane. If we don't bother them, they don't bother us. But when they over step their authority, their delegated authority that comes from the Constitution, and they operate outside of the Constitution, then they are no longer holding office, as they have violated the public's trust. Well, that's what it's called, the public trust. Um, exactly, Billy. That's what's probably the hardest obstacle to get through to people, is for them to understand that part right there. It's a really big thing. But now that I'm here, finally, like I said, this is my first live. I'm not going to take all your time. I just wanted to let you know that if you've been following me on social media, Facebook, YouTube, watch some of my videos, you know that I'm here. I'm definitely going to bring the education. And now that I have the ability to go live, like I said, just going to stay um, in tune with current events and be able to reach out to you guys and get your opinion on things, and interact and give you as much education as I can, because that's what it's about, is informing ourselves. And the best way you can arm yourself is with information. This is not about picking up arms or anything like that. I would think something like that is just pure craziness. This is not how we fight. This is a spiritual fight. So the best way to fight, like I said, is with information, arming yourself with the right information at the right time. From Noble's class. All right, peace. Glad to see you here. Since public and private don't mix, isn't it tough to stay out the public because everything that you operate in is public? Actually, that's incorrect, Damon. If you think about it, when you think of public, public is where you can literally Google something and you will get multiple hits, and you can see it because it's in the public. So I'll give you an example of what mixing public and private is, but it's not a bad thing. Once you incorporate a business and you put a business out there and it's incorporated, you have an EIN, all these things are public. The business is public. It can be searched. Uh, you're going to have companies that are going to report credit bureau on it. So you'll be able to look it up once it's been in existence at a certain amount of time and it has a bank account. You will look, sometimes I do random searches on my business and just see all these companies that are reporting it and how many officers are in the company, how much did it gross annually. All these things makes it public, but you yourself are still private. You won't see your every move. If you bought a car, somebody can't search that and look it up and say this person bought a car. If you bought a house, that's different. Your house can be compromised, especially if it's purchased in your own name and not in a business, because when they will look up that property, it will be listed under a business. And if you have that business structured properly and registered not under your home address or your personal address, then everything remains private. So it's a matter of understanding public and private. And it says, will the forms we file work regarding the vaccination? One thing I would recommend or highly suggest, Donna, is you have to give public notice of it. Two of the best ways of doing that is you can publish it, So I would publish it in a legal paper locally where you're at. The other way is you can record an affidavit of exemption on the public record. I'm going to tell you this before you even try and then come back and say it didn't work. It's going to be very hard to record it because of what's in it. Sometimes their clerks are already given certain keywords that they're to look out for. And if they see it, they should run it by a supervisor before recording it. Because once it's recorded, there's no unrecording it. And then notice is given. So I would recommend, and then if you can get past step one, which is actually recording it on the county record, county recorder, um, I would actually publish it and then get the affidavit from that, and then have that recorded into the public record. So it's like double reinforced steel by doing it that way. And then you can always have a certified copy of that on hand and ready. And you want to put government officials from the top down on notice. You want to put your job on notice. So I would just provide them with a copy. You can do something as far as mailing it to them, certified mail, return receipt request to have somebody sign for it. And then you can also hand this to them in person. And this is for your children's school and everything. So in this affidavit, you want to make sure that you list your children. If you want to list family members or definitely yourself, list them in this affidavit of exemption. And like I said, have it recorded or just give publication. Publish this in the newspaper. And when I say publish it, not the entire affidavit, but just state your name. It could be very brief and just say that I declare on the penalty of perjury that I am exempt from any vaccine or testing related to COVID-19. And very brief. It's not something that needs to be long because publishing could be very expensive. So you're talking about 3, maybe 4 to 5 lines tops, and just want to have that published and publish it. I would say 3 times, up to 3 times. So when you pay for it, have it depending on how they run. But if you can do it 3 consecutive days, beautiful. If not 3 consecutive days, if it's cheaper, I think the weekends might be cheaper. So if you want to set it up to run 3 consecutive weeks, then I would definitely do that. And yes, they will work. The civil rights generation got us thinking that everything when they violate our bodies is civil rights, when it's human right issue. That's exactly. Human rights have been taken away from the forefront. A lot of people don't understand when you say things like that, or that you want to challenge the system. Um, exactly. It is, but at the same time, it's hard to enforce that. I mean, it works. It's like a two-way mirror, so it works in reverse. Posting on Facebook, depending on what it is, can get you in trouble. So they will go and get that and subpoena and have that available. But when it comes to you giving public notice of enforcing your rights or something of that nature, it doesn't really work the same. Exactly. Um, that's what I like about other countries. Like now, when you're looking for news, I would look. The other day, I was looking and somebody posted something from Canada about some stuff that most of us here in the country have no clue about. We don't know it exists. And then BBC is another one. They post a lot of what they would call real news, and they mock American journalism and American media as uh, because us as Americans, we've been raised that way. We were around older elders who watched the news religiously and relied upon news to get the facts of the truth and what's going on in the world. And due to that, we've become one of the probably greatest misled, not generation, but country, I would say, because it's not even to put a time period on it. When I started finding out about this stuff, I thought that, all right, so from 2000 on, or from 90 on, and started to realize truths that I had to unlearn, going back to like Palm Harbor. Palm Harbor was our grandparents' version of 9/11. So the same way 9/11, when 9/11 happened, I was living through this. I was distraught because I actually at that time believed that this had happened, and how they told us the events, I believed it happened that way. And then it wasn't until years later, I started to learn it, and people started presenting evidence as far as like how this couldn't have happened, or how inconsistencies in the stories of the people who were telling us this and wanted us to believe it. There were holes in their story. There were inconsistencies. Things didn't add up. Even now, you can Google this: is the temperature at which steel beams melt. Um, and then you would see right then and there that jet fuel does not burn steel beams. It would not cause a building of that height to just plummet dive into the ground. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. That was incredible. Shout out to Noble Brussel. He helped me out. I got on the webinar, and I think I needed like 40 more subs. And by the time that webinar was done, I had got all the subs that I needed. And I was just looking back on my channel the other day. In August, I had 212 subscribers. And that was a couple of months. I thought it would have happened a lot faster, because I have like over 4,000 Facebook friends, and a great deal of my friends on Facebook I know personally. So I at least know 1,000. So I was like, all right, well, 1,000 subs should be nothing. And I don't know what reasons they had for not actually subscribing, whatever they were. But yeah, it took a couple months. So thank you for the congratulations. I don't want to mispronounce it. Athenia, I believe. Truth is slow, sensationalism is fast. Yeah, man. I watch a lot of YouTube with my young son here, and he's been popping in and out of video, and I see some of the stuff, the content that he watches, that has like 14 million subscribers, and the videos have like 400,000 viewers, and it's just really mindless stuff. And I'm like, but I'm over here trying to help people. I'm trying to give truth. I'm trying to fight for us, and it's like nobody wants anything to do with it. It's so sad what's taking place. I pray that our ancestors continue to protect us. Yes. But I mean, to get back to point, um, Palm Harbor was an exact mirror of 9/11. Um, some of the other things, the Titanic, and they made a big movie out of it, and we watched it, and it was they added things into it with Jack and tears and Rose, and the people playing still while the ship was going down. And when you get the backdrop story on this, and you see how diabolical they are, just as in with 9/11, in 9/11, there were people who were targeted, who knew the truth. And this system wasn't going to just let you walk around knowing the truth and have faith that you wouldn't reveal it. They had certain people call out of work that day that did not appear into the World Trade Center, stayed out, avoided it. And some of the people who were, insiders, they went with the buildings. The same thing happened with the Titanic. What happened with that is there were a lot of people who opposed the creation of the Federal Reserve Bank. And J.P. Morgan actually was part of those who had the secret meeting on Jekyll Island in New York. So all the people who opposed it and did not want it to pass, they hooked them up and gave them tickets and stuff to the Titanic, which was the greatest ship, biggest built ever at that time. It was so secure. It had everything on it. It was supposed to be sink proof, and that's why people had confidence and they went on that boat ride. And that boat ride was taken down intentionally. And it's just crazy. Like, of course, I don't think, well, not think, but yeah, I wasn't alive when the Titanic sunk. But I remember watching the movie, sitting through this in a movie 3 hours straight. And at that time, that was unheard of. But most movies now, like Marvel movies, are like 2 hours, 2.5 hours. So it's nothing. But to sit there and watch through 3 hours of the Titanic was crazy. And just people loved the movie and came out emotional and crying and like all the stuff that they went through, and not knowing that that was just another way of being misled. Pearl Harbor was the same way, as whereas everybody's question was, how did those planes that were hijacked reach the towers, before getting into the insanity of how did two planes knock down three buildings. Um, they just wanted to know, because it was like from watching the movie and stuff, it was something like they didn't know if they should shoot it down, blah, blah, blah. And then it was heading to the Pentagon. So the Pentagon is the most heavily armed, secured building in our government. And a plane actually made it out there and so-called left a big giant hole in the Pentagon. Exactly. Exactly. So as I had to, because of the youth of my age, and I wasn't living when a lot of these things happened now. And I started to realize that there were such things as false flags and things of this nature. So I had to go back with my eye open and look at these other things and research and see stories on these different events that took place, and that I guess my parents or my grandparents lived through and took it as actual fact, and they still live with that. Um, this is one version that is submerged U-boats sent underwater weapons to the Titanic. Yep, that is exact win song. So yeah, just learning and knowing about all this stuff is just insane. All our lives. The funny part about it, Donna, is that and Morpheus says this. He says a good quote in the movie about how we were born into a cage. Did he say a cage? He said a cage for our mind. I don't know if he used the word cage. But when you're born into something, and everybody around you in the school, your family who are raising you are teaching you the same exact thing that is coming out of the TV and that you're reading in books in school, and that they don't even know that that they're being lied to, that they're being manipulated. Um, it's crazy. So even when this information is presented to you, it's just like Neo, and it's funny how when you look at the Matrix, he was like, no, no, this can't be true. This can't be, and he just was like flipping out. He didn't want to believe it. He didn't want to hear any more of it, but he didn't want to believe it. And so waking up is a wonderful thing. Like a lot of people, like you should leave that information alone. Like it's going to drive you crazy, or you're looking too deep into everything. And you have to. We are living in the Truman Show. This is the Truman Show, the movie with um what is his name? Jim Carrey. There's so many movies that this reminds me of. The other thing I was gonna say is with the coming, it's called a certificate. I got it right here. It's a digital certificate of immunity that they're going. It's tied to blockchain technology. So blockchain technology has to deal with like crypto and payment systems that are going to our new form of currency is supposed to be flipping over. I don't know, something about it, December 21st, or it could be next year. But they've use COVID to say that cash is too risky to pass back and forth because it's could be contaminated with COVID. So that's going to be their excuse to pull money out of not even just out of the economy, but to make society agree that we should get rid of it and just come back with a new form of currency, which is funny because they already have it in the works. It's already thought of and created. And so everything's going to be a digital wallet. So if you don't have a digital wallet already, I think most of us do. Some of us are probably really slow to take to technology because they're skeptical. But yeah, most of us have like Robinhood that we trade, Ameritrade, Charles Schwab, Fidelity, all these things. You need to get you a digital wallet. If you're not familiar with that is, look it up. It'll have a couple apps, but that's where currency is going. The other thing is cryptocurrency. A lot of us, especially the older generation, the baby boomers, probably really skeptical. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't trust it. And this is how our grandparents felt. My grandmother was a little girl then. She was born in the 30s. Um, but that's how they felt and the confidence in the banking system after the crash of 1929 and what they had to endure and the money that they lost in the bank. This is what's supposed to be happening again. If you have money in a traditional banking account, it's going to be wiped out and you're going to lose your money unless you are invested in a digital wallet and you hold some form of cryptocurrency. So, like we're looking at crypto now, and it's kind of teetering back and forth between 18 and 19,000. It hasn't broke. Well, I think it did break 20, and then it went down, actually plummeted to like 16,000. But we're going to be looking probably by the end of next year, and it's going to be probably over 30,000 for one Bitcoin. Coinbase, yep. North Carolina has plays Bitcoin, aromatic machine, kiosk, and certain. Yeah, it's going down. PayPal has actually came up with you can buy and sell in crypto, and you can hold crypto in PayPal now. So for those of us who have been looking at this and have been able to see the changes slowly coming until it just jumps out in your face and it's totally mainstream, many will have been too late, like way too late. So for those of you who are skeptical, do your research, or if you trust me, I'm telling you, you're going to look at this video, and of course, it's going to be date stamped. And whenever you watch this video, if it's months later next year, or if it's the end of next year, or if it's 2022, and you're going to look at this video and be like, man, this guy was telling us about this long ago. Yeah, if you get in too late and Bitcoin's already at 30,000 or 50,000, or another thing people like to say is they'll look at it and be like, well, it's 18,000, it's too high. I'll wait till it goes down again. Um, yeah, that's how they're introducing it. Little by little, they're causing you to be able to use it. You're going to start to see all the transactions you can make in Bitcoin. You're probably going to be able to buy a car, Bitcoin. You're going to be able to buy a house in Bitcoin. All transactions, you're going to be paying for DoorDash, Bitcoin, Uber, Bitcoin. It's going to take away the ability to pay for stuff via cash because they can't really track cash, and that's what they don't like. That's what a lot of this is about. It's not just that money is dirty and it may be infected with COVID and we don't want to pass it around. All of this right now is a reset, and they just wanted to be able to track everyone better. Smart contract, yep. I've seen it on PayPal. Yeah, this right here, like I said, the things that we are living through, and you have to go back and study history. But FDR introduced to the people And just again, I'm going to line up and show you how it's similar to right now. Is that um, he had the people the same way after 1929, the banks crashed. Um, People were hungry, they were starving, they didn't have money. So line it up, just put that right on top of our situation right now. People are about to lose their homes, they have lost their jobs, their businesses, and everybody's waiting for a stimulus. And the stimulus plan that the both parties had to put together. So we're sitting there looking at time folded on top of each other, happening again the same way. This is 1933 all over again. And the New Deal will be whatever proposal that they will pass probably next year. Um, and in that will probably be the new currency, um, passing the, um, the COVID vaccine. All that stuff is going to be a part of it. And like I said, this is going to be 10, 20 years from now. People are going to be looking at this, how we are looking at 1933 all over again. Blockchain 2 is coming. You can sell your house in one day. Minimal fees will be the selling point. Damn. So it's going to change. Yeah, it is. So this is going to be the new deal that at that time with FDR that the people begged them for. And this is where we're at again. We're begging whoever is going to be in office, whether it be Biden or Trump, begging for them to pass the what's it called? The stimulus plan. But so here's what I heard that they're going to do, and I kind of had a feeling when they didn't want to hurry up and issue a second round of stimulus, they were holding it out until after Trump said after the election. So now they're saying that they're going to up the amount from 1,200 to 1,500, but in exchange, in order to get it, you have to show proof that you've been vaccinated. And it's sad because you know it's not in my spirit to look down on people because where they are financially. And maybe, I don't know everybody's story. A lot of families can't feed themselves, keep the utilities on. They're probably on now, like I'm saying, until after December 31st. But an avalanche is about to come and it's about to happen, in January. You're going to see a whole lot of things happen. And at that point, they can probably get them to take that vaccine for $1,500. Um, so this is where we're at, and a lot of people would rather not deal with it. A lot of people are mentally not that strong, where they're just like, "Well, I don't want to think about it. Well, I don't want to deal with it." But that's just delaying it. Like, what happens when the point comes that you have to deal with it? Yep, Ethereum is a really young one. XRP, which is funny because all wallets don't carry XRP. They're kind of hard to get. So if you can get your hand on them, they've been going up and they're under $1 right now. Or unless I'm wrong, I think somebody posted the other day it went up to $3 and something. But imagine looking at XRP as an Ethereum in like 3, 4 months, 5 months, and you've been holding tons of XRP. Like even if you put in an investment of $1,000, but if you have more money, if you put in an investment of 2,500, especially like I said, when it was down like 30 cent, 40 cent a coin, even when it jumped up to three something. And I don't know if somebody could check that for me real quick, because I don't want to leave this window to go into another window and it kind of leaves you guys in limbo. But if you can check the price of XRP, I think it, like I said, somebody posted something the other day. I think it's at three something. So that's a pretty huge jump from 30, 40 cent. And then I remember it was like 60 cent last time I was kind of looking at it. So yeah, this is pretty crazy, guys. But yeah, I'm going to be putting together something about the Roe versus Wade. I'll probably do a Zoom webinar by donation. So if you guys are interested in attending that, just let me know. I'll look to put it together within the next week, I guess. and show you guys how we can start getting class actions together, just like they did for couples took it to the Supreme Court about same-sex marriage. This is how we fight. A lot of people want to basically just march or protest outside of a building. That's not enough. That's not how you're heard. We're really going to have to get something going on paper, and backing it up by all your public recordings of your exemption and publications. All that is evidence that we can introduce into the court. So this is how we're going to bring about change. But I want to thank everybody for joining me in my first live. It's not going to be the last, of course. We're going to do a lot of them, and I'm going to keep you guys up to date on what's happening behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. Okay, so I was off. So it's 51 cent, which is still not bad. Like, it doesn't matter if you had 1,000 XRP and it went up. That's like 21 cent because it was at 30 cent. That's still not bad. So, while it's at this price now, I definitely would consider buying a ton of it. Um, the other thing I was going to say is who actually has it? I think I bought mine from eToro because it was hard to find it. I looked on Robinhood. Robinhood does not support it. I looked on Coinbase. I think they did not support it. I think, or uh, it might have been. I can't remember. But there's not a lot of wallets that carry XRP. Kind of hard to get your hands on, no doubt. Um, yeah. So like I said, I'm here. I'm on. We got the live chat going, and we're gonna start killing it, man. The next month, we're gonna put you guys in touch with a lot of things. Try to help you with a lot of remedy for things you can do. One of the biggest things that I want to help you guys with, if you're interested, um, is doing your passports, getting your passports done, getting your status corrected, getting all your public notice to all your public officials. This is what's going to help save you, is the passport. Um, so a lot of people, and it's weird, a lot of people aren't familiar with these. I just became familiar with this about 2 years ago, I think. But a lot of people, I showed this the other day, and somebody said, "What the hell is that?" Because it almost looks like maybe a military idea or something. But this is what you want to get your hands on. So it's Real ID compliant. You don't have to worry about that because that's gonna be another issue. I forgot what month that's supposed to take effect, and you need to have Real ID Act to even travel. But now on top of that, you need the you're gonna need the COVID immunity passport. So we're gonna look in ways to get around that because it's fairly new and they're still implementing it. But yeah, we'll definitely be working on it and let you know. Caused by spread illness. How do you perceive the government handling this fallout? Um, I would say Windsong. Let me see. Let's see if I could. Um, all right, now I can't do it. I was trying to reply to you directly. Um, but Winsong, are you familiar with the Georgia Guidestones? If you're not, I want you to Google Georgia Guidestones, click images, and try to find a clear image. And I want you to read number one. I want you to read what the number one rule is on the Georgia Guidestones. They're big, giant stones that are they're printed in, I forgot how many languages, but it's printed in multiple languages, and it's real. Like, a lot of people scream conspiracy theory, but no, it's actually in Georgia. That you can go down there and physically see these with your eye, but there's images on Google. It says from our class yesterday. It says thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. You're very welcome. Um, all right, so Georgia Guidestones, that is correct. Look that up, and like I said, click images and look at rule number one, what they say, and that'll answer your question about how do I perceive the government will handle this. But I'm going to get out of here, guys. Like I said, I've been here almost an hour. I didn't think I would be here that long, and I want to thank everybody for turning out, just coming to watch the first live. And we're going to do a lot more. It's going to be fun. So again, appreciate you, and again, thanks everybody who supported brother Bruce, Noble Brucel, on his masterclass. It was a great one. It was pretty long, but we all hung in there. We got through it, so it was great. So peace and light to everybody. Thanks.